Welcome back to another exciting tutorial on our favorite topic ChatGPT. Today, however, we are taking a slight detour from the excitement to address something equally crucial, the unique risks associated with generative AI. I know it is easy to get caught up in the whole hype surrounding ChatGPT, but it's essential to stay grounded and aware of potential downfall. Large language models like ChatGPT excel at a variety of tasks like content generation, question and answering, but there is a catch. ChatGPT can write brilliant sentences, but it lacks true understanding of those sentences that it is writing. It's very similar to a grammar Nazi parrot, which repeats phrases but has no understanding of the phrases that it is saying. This raises a very critical concern. AI models, well, these AI models can sound so convincing. There is a risk of them spreading misinformation at an alarming rate. So let's discuss what are the implications of utilizing AI that could potentially fabricate information. How does it impact your brand, your business, or the whole society as a whole? Is there a risk of your large language models falling into wrong hands? So let's start.
So let me explain how you can reduce your risk. It falls into four areas: hallucinations, bias, consent, and safety. And guess what? We are going to learn about how to protect ourselves from these risks one by one. So let's start with the falsehoods, the often referred as AI hallucinations. But first, let's tackle something has been bugging me. The term hallucination for AI. Seriously, it sounds like our AI is thinking about pink elephants or some other random things. It's not that. You probably seen the headlines about large language models acting all human-like, claiming they have emotions and just throwing things that are just effectually wrong. But what's really happening here? These large language models are predicting the next syntactically correct word in a sentence, not accurate answers based on the understanding of what the human is actually asking for, which means it's going to sound great, but it might be 100% wrong in its answer. This wrong answer is actually a statistical error. Let's take a simple example. Let's say if we ask ChatGPT who wrote the poems A, B, and C. Let's say they were all authored by poet X, but there is one rogue source that claim it was actually author Z or author Y. So now we have conflicting sources in our training data. Which which one actually wins the argument? Even worse, they might not be a disagreement at all. So let's take a simple example. Let's say we ask ChatGPT who wrote these poems. Let's say sources A and B has correctly mentioned that it was actually written by poet X. But let's say there is a wrong source which claims it was actually author Y. Now we have conflicting sources in the training data itself. So which one actually wins the argument? That's difficult to say, right? So even worse, there may not be a disagreement at all. But again, it's just a statistical error. The response could very well be incorrect because again the large language model do not understand anything. They don't understand the meaning of it. These inaccuracies can be exceptionally dangerous. It's even more dangerous when you have large language models cites its sources for totally bogus answers. Why is that bad news? Because it gives the illusion of credibility, but it's not exactly correct. Imagine a call center replaced all of its human staff with a LLM, let's say. Okay, it and the LLM confidently serves up a factually incorrect answer to the customer. Right. So here is your factually wrong answer. Now imagine how much angry this customer will be when they cannot actually offer a correction via feedback loop. This brings us to our first mitigation strategy, explainability. So now you could offer inline explainability and pair a large language model with the system that offered the real data and the data lineage and the provenance via a knowledge graph. Okay. Why did the model say what it just said? Where did it pull data from? Which are its sources? These large language models could provide variations on the answer that was offered on the by the knowledge graph. This way, you can peek behind the AI curtain and see why it is giving out these answers and where it is finding its fact. It's like having a GPS, and that not only guides you but also explains you why it is taking to you through that route. Okay. So next risk is bias. Do not be surprised if the output of your original query, let's say if I'm asking ChatGPT list five poets of 19th century, okay. Uh, do not be surprised if the output of your query it's only lists out only white male Western European poets. Okay, all of these are white male Western European poets. But now I want to see a more representative answer, right? So, how to get that inclusive list? So now I have to change my prompt. I have to write something like, "Can you please give me a list of poets that include women and non-Western Europeans?" So then you'll start getting other ethnicity, other gender also getting represented in the answers. So this way you can fix these sort of issues. So don't expect the large language models to learn from your prompt. So this the we now come to the second mitigation strategy for bias. That is culture and audits. Culture is what people do when no one is looking. It starts with approaching this entire subject with humility, as there is so much that has to be learned and even I would say unlearned. Would need teams that are diverse, multidisciplinary, and ready to roll up their sleeves because AI is like a mirror reflecting of on our own biases back to us. We audit our AI models, and when we spot bias, we just don't pat ourselves on the back for just catching it. No, we roll up our sleeves and we fix our organizational culture, which has led to this sort of incorrect answer. We're talking about audits post release also. It's all about keeping things in check and making sure that bias doesn't sink in. So now let's come to the next risk. The next risk is consent. So is the data that you are giving out, it was gathered with consent? Are there copyright issues? Right. So these are the things that you can and you should ask for. This should be included in an easy to find, understandable fact sheet. Oftentimes, a lot of us, regular folks like you and me, have no idea where the heck the training data came from for these large language models. Where was that data gathered from? Did the developer look at the deep dark web to figure out this answer? So, to mitigate this sort of consent related risk, we need to get the combined effort of auditing as well as accountability. So, accountability means we establish some AI governance processes. We're talking about making sure we are on the right side of the existing laws and regulations. And you're also offering ways for people to have their feedback incorporated. Okay. So, now to the final risk, security. Large language models could be used for all sorts of malicious tasks, like leaking people's private information, helping criminals fish, spam, scam, all those sort of things. Now, these days, hackers have even pulled off stunt where they get the AI models to do their bidding. They make the AI endorse things like racism, suggest illegal activities, these sort of things. Another sort of attack is indirect prompt injection. That's when a third party alters the website, adds hidden data to change the AI's behavior. So now result, basically automation relying on any AI potentially sends out malicious information without you even being even aware. So now how do we mitigate this issue now? So the way to mitigate this is education, and it actually pulls all of it together. Okay, so how do you handle it? So let's say I give you an example of let's say training a brand new large language model can be environmentally impactful as a whopping 100 round trips between New York and Beijing. This means it's really important to know the strengths and the weaknesses of our technology. It means educating our own people what exactly the principles are for the curation, for the responsible curation of the AI. I know it sounds crazy, but that's why we need to be absolutely crucial aware of what exactly this technology is built upon, with the ins and outs of the technology, the strengths, the weakness, the environmental cost, and all of those important safety measures. So now anyone can actually find a domain and fill it with a bogus data, right? So what will happen? So all the tech companies, OpenAI, Google, they're just hoping that their large language models training data is not tampered with. But if I just create a domain and fill it with bogus data, I and basically poisoning the data set with enough fake examples, I can potentially manipulate a large language model's behavior and outputs indefinitely. That's a really bad game changer. So here's the deal. The stack is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. And we have got to think about the kind of relationship that we want to have with AI. If we are going to if we are going to use AI to supercharge human intelligence, we've got to ask some important questions. What it is like for a person who has been augmented by AI? Are they really truly empowered by AI? We have got to figure these sort of questions. And that's why the education is the glue that holds it all together. We need to make knowledge about data and AI accessible and inclusive for everyone, no matter who they are or what skills they have. So let's pull up our chairs and to the table for different peoples with varying skill sets to work on this topic. Together, we can make the future of AI bright and safe for us.
There you have it, guys. A deep dive into the risk associated with generative AI. While ChatGPT and similar models offer amazing capabilities, it is crucial to identify and address the potential downsides also. As we conclude this discussion, let's remember while generative AI offers incredible possibilities, it also requires careful consideration and oversight to mitigate potential risks. By staying informed and advocating for responsible AI usage and implementing these sort of safeguards, we can harness the power of AI while minimizing its negative effects. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for notifications on future content. Until that time, keep coding, keep and as always, keep coding, keep innovating, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of tech today. Until next time, this is Shaunak signing off.